Hey everybody, Mr. H here. Today I want to talk to you about applying squash and stretch to your animations. So I'm going to click on ActionScript 3 right here, and the default document size that's going to give me is 24 frames per second at 550 by 400 pixels. Okay, I'm going to hit Command plus to just zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to just call this first layer Chicken 1. Alright, I'm going to draw a chicken right over here real quick. So I'm going to speed up the footage just so that this doesn't take forever. Okay, so this is sped up by about 500%. And what I want to do is just draw in a very simple chicken. There's going to be two characters in this scene. And I'm just going to use some basic shapes, really simple characters, just to make the animation a little bit easier. Okay, so just using basic shapes, you can differentiate between the two characters. One is a circle and one is a square. We've got simple legs, simple eyes, etc. Okay, now I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to cut it. I'll hit Command X to cut it and put it on its own layer. We'll call this Chicken 2. And then I'll go to Edit, Paste in Place. Okay, so I'm going to go to Chicken 1 and then go to frame 15 and just insert a frame. Okay, so that'll just stay in place. This chicken's not going to move. Alright, we're going to animate Chicken 2. So what I'm going to do here is just take this chicken and move it over a little bit, and I think I'm going to take his legs right here and move those over. Alright, so let's say that this chicken wants to turn and walk over to this chicken. We could have the chicken just turn and then start walking, but what we could also do is we could have him do a very kind of exaggerated giant step over to here. And what we could do is use squash and stretch to kind of emphasize that. And it just makes the whole thing a little bit more pleasing to watch. Okay, so what we're going to do is apply some squash and stretch to make this turn and to kind of shorten the time that it'll take for the chicken to get from one side of the screen to the other. Okay, so I'm just going to change my frame size here a little bit larger so you can see a little bit easier. Alright, so I'm going to go from frame 1 to frame 3, and I'm going to press F6 to insert a new keyframe. So then right here I'm going to actually take the character and I'm going to delete the legs. And then I'm going to actually move him down a little bit. So I'll just use the arrows on the keyboard to move him down. And then I'm actually going to hit Q and I'm going to squash the character down here. Okay, so I'm going to squash down a little bit, stretch out a little bit. Okay. So we're doing a little bit of squash and stretch right here already as we slow out of that first pose. Okay. So now I'm going to turn on my onion skin. And I'm just going to bend the legs a tiny bit, okay, so that we can feel that movement a little bit better. Okay, there we go. So we're going to slow out of that first position. Alright, now I'm going to go to frame 5 and I'm going to hit F6. And right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just erase the legs again. I'm going to take the character and I'm going to move the character a little bit to the left. So I'm going to use the arrows on the keyboard to move to the left and move down some more. And then I'm going to hit B and I'm going to bend the leg some more. And then I'm going to kick the front leg up a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to take the neck and head and delete it. And I'm going to start to bend his neck a little bit. The neck's going to kind of lead the body as he turns. So I'm going to use my brush and draw in a new neck over here. Kind of squash that neck and head down a little bit. Okay, and let's see. Put in the beak. Okay. So here we go. We're starting to turn the body now, okay? Turn on my onion skin real quick and take a look. So I can see that the body's moving actually less on this next frame here. So what I want to do is I want to move him more, okay? So I'm going to hit L for my lasso tool and I'm going to lasso the whole body and I'm going to move it down and over some more. And so what I want to see here is we're slowing out. So these first two drawings from 1 to 3, there's a little bit of movement, and then as we go forward, we are the spacing between the drawings is getting further apart. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go to frame 7, press F6 to insert a keyframe, and right here I'm going to erase the leg right here. Okay. And again, I want to turn on my onion skin so I can kind of see what's going on. This front leg here that's kicking up, it's going to kick up even higher now. So I'm going to go up higher. And I'm going to lasso him, and I want to move him over some more there. Okay, so let me just bring that. Okay, now I'm going to duck his head down even more. So I'm going to take my eraser, okay, so I'm going to take this and move it way down, and I'll hit Q and then I'll rotate it. So I'm going to have to go in here and erase this too. Alright, so now I'm going to erase the eyes, and I'm going to close the eyes. As we turn our heads, often we blink, so we're going to blink the eyes here. Get the eyes closed. We'll just kind of rotate this. Draw in a line here and erase right over here. So now let's fill this back in. Okay. Let's bring that leg over. Okay. So here we go. We're anticipating his leap this way. Okay. So we're not only working on squash and stretch, but we're also working on other principles of animation like slow in and slow out and anticipation. So I'm going to go to frame 9 and then press F6. All right, now here what I'm going to do, this is not going to make a lot of sense, but this is what I call the pop frame. This is where you really change positions kind of radically in the movement of the character. Okay, so I'm going to take my transform here and I'm going to flip this to the other side. It's going to flip the character. All right, so you just see him like rotate like that. Okay. All right, so that's part of it. Now the leg, I don't want the leg way out here. Okay, so let me erase this part. And the head is not going to be in this position either. I just want the tail to flip to the other side. I'll take my brush, and what I'm going to do here, let me quickly turn on my onion skin so I can kind of see. So here, we're going to start to stretch out the character. So here we're going to have a totally different position. Okay. Let me bring the tail down a little bit. And then I'm actually going to squash the whole thing down. Okay, so I'll take my transform and I'm going to squash it all down. And then we'll stretch it out a little bit this way. That looks okay. So let me now just put in a little bit more of a curve here. Okay, so let me put in his closed eyes here. And at the top of the head, the feathers. All right, so now that leg that was kicking up into the air, it's still going to be up in the air. I'm just going to put it up here like this. He's going to transition to that leg moving forward. So let me just draw that in. All right, so this is kind of a weird frame how it just flips over. Okay, and the other thing we need to do is we can't just have it flip-flop. We've got to move, got to keep the body moving. Okay, so right here, I'm going to have to once again erase the leg, but not the foot. And I'm going to take this drawing and I'm going to just move it over. Okay, and maybe up a little bit. All right, so now I'm going to just draw this in here like that. So we got to keep that moving. So let me look at this onion skin and just kind of check. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to do a super stretch frame. Okay, so I'm going to go to frame 11, press F6, and right through here, I'm going to erase this foot right here altogether. Let's see, I'll erase over here as well. I'm going to take the body right here and move it way over. And we're going to stretch this out some more. So I'll hit Q. And I want to stretch this out further and squash it down some more. Okay, so this is going to be a wild frame here. Okay, so this part of the bird, I'm going to kind of rotate and curve it up a little bit. So I'll kind of erase in here. Okay, so now I need to continue to have this foot connected to the ground, but he's going to be up on his toe, basically right there. And then this front leg that was up in the air, this is going to go way forward. Okay, I'm going to see if I can go even further with that, just to push that pose. So the thing about this is that most beginning animators, they think, you know, you're really changing the shape of this character. It doesn't seem realistic, and animation's not about realism, it's about a heightened reality. Okay, so you want to take what's true to life and then you want to present it in a more extreme way. We can get away with stuff like this. And if you watch animation and you pause it on certain frames, you're going to see crazy poses like this. Okay. All right, so I want to make sure that this pose right in here makes sense, that thickness of that line. Okay. It's cool. This looks good. So we're going to stretch into there. Okay. All right. Now, next pose, I'm going to go to frame 13. I'll press F6. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start to go back to more of a normal thing. Okay. So I'm going to erase. I'll erase this leg here. I got to keep that the position of the foot. I've got to keep that in place. So I'll erase here. This back leg, I can finally erase that back leg completely. Okay, so now what needs to happen here? Probably I need to redraw this whole thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just actually erase the whole bird. Okay, I'll turn on my onion skin. I want to be able to see this frame. Okay, now I'm going to redraw the bird in more of a square shape again. Okay, so I'm going to make him a little bit more square, not fully. Let's actually look at the first frame. Okay, that's pretty square right there. So we'll need to make this not quite that square-like, so I'm going to compress it a little bit more. But we're going to go back to more of a normal shape here. Okay, so now I'm going to bring that leg. It's still going to be stretchy, but not too stretchy. And then this back leg right here will be much shorter. Okay, and then in here, I want to keep the curvature going here. Because another thing I want to think about is I want to think about the arc, the path that the head shape moves. So if we do that in an arc shape like this, that's going to be much more pleasing to the eye. And arcs are another principle of animation. All right, so, all right, I'm going to close those eyes. Okay, so let's take a look at this now. Okay, so now here at frame 15, I'm going to go even more normal. So press F6. Okay, so I think I'm going to take this, the neck here, and just bring it in a little bit. It's a little bit too stretched. I mean, I want it to stretch out, but not that much. Okay, so I'm just going to move that over a little bit. So let's go to frame 15. I'll press F6 for a new keyframe. And let's move this guy forward here. So I'm going to erase again the leg position here. And take this, I'm going to move it over, move it up a little bit. I want to be able to see the previous frame. Okay, all right, let's take the head shape and let's rotate that up some more. Move that over a little bit. So I'm going to erase the foot here and we'll draw in a new position for the leg. And let's take this the back foot here, the back leg. We'll start to bring that down a little bit. All right, so now, let's see, from here to here, I think I want to make his body a little bit more normal. Okay, so let's I'll hit Q, and let's stretch him up a little bit here. And let's bring the head shape down. So we're slowly getting back to that normal square shape of the body here. All right, so now let's see, I need to extend this out here. So I'm going to go to frame 21, insert a frame here. Okay, so here on frame 17, I'm going to press F6, and let's take his body here and let's go a little bit higher here. And let's take his neck and let's kind of straighten it out a little bit more. Let's open his eyes. Okay, and let's bring this forward. Bring this over some more here. Put the foot down. So we'll do something at a slight angle. This foot right here can kind of come back into a more relaxed pose. Okay, and then we'll slow into the last pose here. I'll press F6. We'll take the character here, just move it over a little bit, maybe up a little bit, and I'll erase here, and let's straighten out the legs, and we'll bring it into a final position. Okay, so I'm going to play this. Okay, so let me insert a frame right here so it doesn't drop out. Okay, so there we have like an exaggerated step with some squash and stretch in there. Now I would say in the head here, basically I need to kind of rein this in a little bit here. So I think starting maybe right here, I'll take this and lower it. Okay. So here we go. And then I think on this last frame here, I'll just erase a little bit right here. All right, so some of the principles of animation that we covered were squash and stretch, slow in and slow out, arcs, and anticipation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. And if you'd like to learn more about 2D animation or 3D animation, you can go to my channel. There will be a link in the description below. All right, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the future with a new video.